As a soldier in Afghanistan, I was trained to expect the worst.
At home, I thought it would be different.
But Congressman Toomey voted against the $1,500 combat bonus.
And Congressman Toomey supports letting Wall Street execs keep every penny of their bonuses.
Toomey said that money for troops was wasteful spending.
Bonuses for Wall Street are fine?
But bonuses for troops are wasteful?
I expected the worst in Afghanistan. I expected better from Congressman Toomey.
Vote Vets Action Fund is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Millionaire Pat Toomey, he's fighting for jobs. In China, after working on Wall Street, Toomey moved to Asia to work for a Hong Kong billionaire who wanted to help the Chinese economy. And in Congress, Toomey voted to give China special trade status. Toomey's vote for China helped cost us 2.4 million jobs. Job killer Pat Toomey. Maybe he ought to run for Senate in China. The Democratic Senatorial Campaign Committee is responsible for the content of this advertising.
And look, there are good people at the VA. There are good people at the VA. They're doing a good job. It isn't fair to them that the people that are not doing a good job are not being held accountable. You have calls to the VA suicide hotline going to voicemail. Yeah. You had a veteran take his life the other day after he left a message on the voicemail and didn't get a call back. This is an outrage. When I'm president, there's going to be accountability at the VA. And when I'm president, veterans will be able to take their benefits to any hospital or any doctor that they want to go to. By the way, when I'm president, we're going to honor all our men and women that serve our country. And that includes our firefighters and our police officers and our sheriff deputies who every single day. We have problems. We always have. There's never been a perfect time in America. The thing is that for over 2 centuries, each generation before us had problems too. But they confronted them. And they solved them. And each generation has left the next better off. And now the time has come for us to do the same. We're not going to be able to do it if Hillary Clinton is elected president. Because she's just going to continue the same policies of the Obama administration. The same ones. She will continue the exact same policies or worse. And she's not qualified to be president. Hillary Clinton's under FBI investigation. And she's disqualified from being commander-in-chief because she lied to the families of the victims of Benghazi. The air conditioning is dripping. I knew I wasn't imagining that. It's hot. She's not qualified to be president. We can't lose this election. And guys, as much as anything else, if we nominate let me be frank, I don't want to beat around the bush here. If Donald Trump is our nominee, we're going to lose. And by the way, if Donald Trump is our nominee, he will define conservatism for a generation. When people think of what does it mean to be a conservative, they'll say, oh, Donald Trump. He's not a conservative. He's a supporter of Planned Parenthood. He's a supporter of government-run health care. He won't stand with Israel. He has no idea what to do about Social Security or any issue for that matter. We can't afford it. We can't afford to lose this election. Now, in the past, when people say to you, vote for me because I can win, in the past, what that's meant is vote for me, I'm not as conservative, and conservatives can't win. I'm as conservative as anyone in this race. I will hold my record up against anyone who is running for president when it comes to conservatism. My conservatism didn't start 2 years ago. I have a 15-year record of turning conservatism into action. I was the Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives, and we did conservative things when I was Speaker of the House. For example, this state, has some of the best eminent domain laws in the country. In Florida, a private developer cannot take away your property using eminent domain to build a hotel because of the law that I passed. In Florida, we reformed our school curriculum. We raised our standards. We did it without the federal government. We did it without Common Core. We did it at the state level where it belongs. kids can learn to be welders, pipe fitters, plumbers, electricians, car mechanics. We need more vocational education in America. We have more than afford because of what we do. We led the effort when I was Speaker to cut property taxes. We balanced the state budget. We never raised a penny in taxes to do it. I have a 15-year record of conservatism. I've been a conservative in the Senate. I led the effort, and we put additional sanctions on Hezbollah, an evil terrorist group that tries to kill Israelis and Americans. We led the effort and passed the Girls Count Act to take on human trafficking. And everybody running for president says they're against Obamacare. I'm the only one that's ever done anything about it. I led the effort, and we got rid of the Obamacare bailout fund, that they were going to use your taxpayer money to bail out private insurance companies who got lost money under Obamacare. I don't just say that I'm a conservative. For 15 years, I have turned conservative ideas into conservative solutions. We need to nominate a conservative and one who can win. Because the stakes for America are extraordinary. This election is a choice. Not just between candidates, but between parties. And we not just between candidates and not just between parties. This election is a referendum on our identity as Republicans, as conservatives, and ultimately as Americans. Lady has a sign that says, "Don't give up." Thank you.
Don't give up.
Let me tell you why I never will. I won't ever give up because if my parents had given up, I wouldn't be standing here today. That's My worst day is better than most of my parents' best days. For they came here in 1956 with nothing. My father had to stop going to school when he was 9 because his mother passed away.
My father was shot in Cuba.
I'm sorry to hear that,
After
man.
12 years of being in jail. And there are many, many like him. And there was a time when for 3 years that we lost him. And we didn't know where he was. And we found him plantado without clothes, nothing, but just a human wretched person. And that's what is Cuba. And I want you to fix that. I don't want you to give up.
We won't. When my father's mother died when he was 9, he had to stop going to school. And he had to start working. And he worked the next 70 years of his life. My mother was one of 7 girls raised by a disabled father in rural Cuba. They struggled. And they came here, they had no money. They didn't know anyone. They had no advanced education. The first words my father learned in English were, "I'm looking for a job." Their life was hard. Their first years here were difficult. Much harder than anything I'll ever face. And I thank God every day they didn't give up. Because less than 10 years after they came here under those conditions, my parents bought their first home. My dad was just a bartender at a hotel on Miami Beach, and they owned a home. And let me tell you what they achieved. Because they never made a lot of money, they never became famous, they never owned more than one property at a time. But my parents persevered. And they never became, as I said, wealthy. But they retired with dignity. And they left all 4 of their children better off than themselves. This nation this is not just the country I was born in. This is the nation that changed the history of my family. This is the country that gave me a chance to fulfill all the dreams, all the hopes my parents once had for themselves. If there's anything worth fighting for, it's that. And my story is not my story, it's our story. In America, we are all a generation or 2 removed from someone who made our future the purpose of their life. In America, we are all the beneficiaries of the American dream. And the American dream was never automatic. It didn't happen on its own. The American dream was possible because the people who were here before us did incredible things to keep it alive and pass it on. And now the time has come for us to do our part. Now the moment has arrived for this generation to do its part. And we can do it. There's nothing we can't do. But we have to do it now. We have to do it in this election, or we'll run out of time.
We'll do it, Marco.
I know we'll do it. Yes, ma'am.
It all starts right here in front.
I can tell you what I don't want to leave my children. I do not want to leave my children in a country where the government dominates the economy. Because in countries where the government dominates the economy, the people who influence government keep winning, and everybody else gets left out. I don't want to leave my children in a country where the Constitution means whatever you want it to mean. Because if the Constitution means whatever you want it to mean, it means nothing anymore. We've become a nation of men instead of a nation of laws. I don't want to leave my children in a country where America's military is weaker. Because when America's military is weaker, not only are we less safe, the world is less safe. And I don't want to leave my children in a country where we can't have a debate about issues anymore. Where we can't argue about the rate of taxes, or about the health care laws, or about the direction of our policies abroad. Because everyone's angry at each other. Everyone's screaming at each other. Americans start to hate each other. We need a president that loves all of the American people, even the ones that don't love you back. We need a president that works for all the American people. Not one that divides us against each other on purpose so you can win an election. That's right. We've already had 8 years of that. We can't afford 4 years more. That's right. Nothing that is special is easy. And being a special country has never been easy for America. And everything that's worth doing is hard. And for me, running for president is worth doing. Because I believe that ultimately the decision we make in this election will determine what life is like for a generation in the greatest country on earth. And that's why I'm here to ask you to support me. If you already do, that's why I'm here to ask you to vote. And if you've already voted, that's why I'm here asking you to find other people to come out and vote. Florida, it was always going to come down to Florida. 99 delegates awarded to whoever gets the most votes. The winner here, even if by one vote, takes all 99 delegates. I believe that the winner of the Florida primary will be the Republican nominee.
That's you.
Yeah. 5 years ago, I came to many of you. You didn't know me. I was running against the sitting governor of Florida. He had all the money, had all the polls, and all the support. But I didn't want my next U.S. Senator to be someone that agreed with Barack Obama. I wanted our next U.S. Senator to be someone that would stand up to that agenda and offer a clear alternative. That's right. And you believed in me, and you gave me the chance, and I won. Yes. And that's what I've done for 5 years. For 5 years, I have stood up to the Obama agenda, and I've had successes. Not as many as we would want. It's been hard. But we did repeal the bailout fund in Obamacare. And we have stood up to his bad ideas here and around the world. But I've also offered clear alternatives. I'm the only Republican running that has a plan on student loan debt and higher education.